Welcome back to another episode of The Supernaturals.
Beat me to it.
That's Cal. I'm Jake, and that's Soul. You can't see him, but he's here.
Hi, guys. Pop open your drinky drinks because we got...
That's how we're going to always start off the episode. You always should have a drink in hand.
Absolutely.
Once again, it doesn't have to be alcoholic. It could be a mocktail. It could be a Capri Sun. A juice box.
Dude, a Capri Sun sounds good right now, actually. It does.
Capri Suns hit different on a very hot day.
Yeah, summer days. Man, you were riding your bikes and getting on the scooter. Then, oh, God, you'd always get hit in the...
What was your favorite Capri Sun flavor?
I don't remember. Wild Rush or some shit was one of them.
Wasn't there a strawberry kiwi one? That one was pretty good.
Probably, I would imagine. Yeah, I didn't really know them by flavors. It was kind of just like...
You got Capri Suns?
Capri
Hell
Sun.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like, who cares? It was a Capri Sun was a Capri Sun, but...
They're delicious. Well, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Yep. Today, well, our visual listeners got a little surprise.
Visual listeners again?
Oh my God. Sorry. Our visual audience got a little surprise today.
It's true. If you're an audio listener, go check out our YouTube.
Yeah, go check out the video.
Fun
just
surprise
for like 5 seconds, but it was fun.
You don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. Just listen to it.
It does show what we are talking about today because we're continuing, in a way, what we had already talked about with Amityville. And we're kind of doing in honor of the new movie coming out, the new Conjuring movie. We're kind of doing a little trilogy of Conjuring type episodes. You know, we did Amityville, which was covered in The Conjuring, and it was also part of Ed and Lorraine. They kind of handled that. So we're doing Amityville. So watch that one if you haven't yet. And then this one is kind of about the Conjuring franchise as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
We're really excited because, I mean, we like the Conjuring movies, right?
Sure do. They're great.
I think it's kind of funny how I've stated on this podcast and multiple times in person that I can't stand possession movies. I think that they're like the worst genre for horror, in my opinion, unless done correctly. There have been a couple that I've enjoyed, but like The Exorcist Believer, like that was so bad, dude. And like, I don't know, just I'd rather have like a chase down with like a slasher at the end in like a cool area versus, you know, the same climax every time with the power of Christ compels you, the demon roars, and then it's all right in the world when they, you know, it's just too predictable, I think. And I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. But the Conjuring movies kind of handle things a little bit differently, not only with the cool creature design most of the time, but I mean, they kind of feel different than your typical. Well, for starters, you actually care about the characters.
Right. And specifically Ed and Lorraine at the beginning, like they make you like them a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely make them a very,
well, even the families too, right?
Yeah.
You fall in love with these families and then you feel bad for what is happening, right?
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other Exorcist movies that you just listed,
yeah,
I didn't feel connected to the characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think another thing too that I point out every time I watch a Conjuring movie, people get thrown around.
It's a Conjuring movie without a good toss around.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's always like a fun thing for me because I don't know, I like just like randomly seeing these people just get thrown across a room and you're like, whoa, what the feeling that you get when, because it's not just like,
it's a violent throw.
Yeah, it's a violent throw. It is crazy. So no, I am a sucker for that. I do enjoy that kind of stuff.
Well, one thing you pointed out while we were watching these back, besides the last one, nobody dies.
Yeah, not a lot of there's not a lot of deaths in the Conjuring franchise.
Which seems everyone's okay eventually.
Yeah.
It's like a happy ending, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, they are going off of true stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it is cool that they're not, just like randomly introducing like the cop who just dies. You know, it's like a fictional cop or something. It's like, no, it's kind of in a weird way trying to be accurate to the story while also dramatizing the hell out of it.
Right.
So it's cool. We like these movies. And the next episode, we're going to talk about Ed and Lorraine, the actual Ed and Lorraine Warren. And we'll kind of dive deep into all of that jazz. So that'll be a little drama-filled episode, I would say. But
we should give a quick honorable mention to the two that play Ed and Lorraine in the movies.
Yes.
They do such a great job.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson, he's a great actor. He actually worked with the first two Conjuring movies were by James Wan, and I think he helps write the stories of some of them. He produces all of them and stuff. So
yeah, I did see his name in the third one just as a producer.
Yeah. So it's funny, Patrick Wilson, the guy who plays Ed, he worked with James Wan in Insidious.
He was so good in it too.
James Wan directed Aquaman and Aquaman 2, and he's also in that.
Right.
So you could tell they have a good working relationship.
Yeah, he's like, any movie I touch, I got you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a small role, you're in it.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So we this episode we just wanted to pretty much just go through the Conjuring franchise with you guys, and you know, they've had some big hits, they've had some misses, but they've
definitely a couple misses.
We'll talk about those. And you know, if you guys share our opinions, then cool, you know, let us know. And if you disagree, and we want to know why. We want to know why you disagree. So
100%. And also, if you haven't seen these movies, maybe this is a door to go watch them.
Yeah. It is interesting because I mean there's
a lot of movies.
Yeah, it's a horror like shared universe, you know, which is pretty cool. So all right, well, we're going to talk about the movies. We're going to talk about what we thought of the movies, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then there's some fun facts that we found about each movie. So we'll dive into that a little bit, and yeah, let's get into it, guys.
Grab your drinks.
Conjuring.
Turn the lights down low.
Yeah. Baby, turn the lights down low. Play the music.
Everybody lock in.
Everybody lock the in right now. Anyway.
I think that's about to become a saying for us.
We just make t-shirts say lock in. It's like a ghost on it. No, so we'll let's dive into it, everybody.
Ghost man.
Let's talk about some Conjuring. Yeah. All right. Conjuring movies have frightened okay. Solid. Conjuring movies have frightened audiences all over the world for over a decade now. Which, by the way, is absolutely insane because I remember it like it was just yesterday the first one came out.
I agree. It's kind of baffling that it was like this iconic, very scary horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't think they're like that scary.
Well, yeah.
Personally, I don't. But it was a new genre at the time. They were diving into something new.
Yeah.
And the horror community ate it up.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying it's just kind of wild that it's been over a decade. Time flies. Time flies. You know, if you're one of our younger listeners, you know, enjoy yourself. Like enjoy the time that you have because my parents were always like, it's, you know, they're like, once you get older, time just goes. And I'm like, nah, it's going to be 2014 forever. And then it's not.
It's true. You wake up one day, your sister has a kid. You wake up the next day, he's almost 8 years old.
Yeah. You wake up the next day and me and my sisters are all still single.
Then you wake up the next day and you're almost 30.
You wake up the next day and you're 6'2". Then you wake up the next day, you're 6'4". Then you wake up the next day and you're 6'7".
And sometimes you wake up the next day and you're not that.
And sometimes you wake up the next day and you got nerve damage.
Sometimes you wake up the next day and you can't see anymore.
Yeah. Anyway.
Point is, time flies. Enjoy yourself.
Yes. Do what you want to do. You know, work isn't everything. Funny how we're saying that. Anyway. So with numerous demons, great acting, and an abundance of jump scares, the franchise is essentially a horror version of the MCU with its shared universe. However, with recent misses and not too many hits lately, the fourth and final installment of the mainline movies releases this year and aims to conclude the Ed and Lorraine Warren saga. So today, like we said, we're going to look back on the franchise and discuss our favorite moments, the best movies, and the ones that fell super short of hitting the mark, which I know Jake can't wait to talk about. So for starters, we're going to talk about The Conjuring, which released in 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
What a year.
Directed by James Wan, this movie showed audiences what true Hollywood horror movies could be. Based on the real-life haunting of the Perrin family who moved into the infamous house in Rhode Island in 1971 and claimed to experience a bunch of paranormal anomalies. The cool thing about the movie is it is the first ever movie to receive an R rating due to its scare factor, which I thought was cool. There is little to no blood, barely any profanity, and no sexual content. Pretty impressive.
Very. Because you see that a lot now. It's always so bloody in movies now.
Yeah.
Like
Which,
that.
I mean, I don't mind the blood,
but I'm just saying that it's kind of crazy that they were able to pull that off with minimal things.
Well, they are dark movies. I mean, they handle pretty dark
true.
themes. You know, the first Conjuring handled the one lady like killing her kid and like hanging herself and all that. Like, so I mean, that's not PG-13.
It's definitely dark, no doubt.
So the actors who played Ed and Lorraine Warren, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, actually went to visit with Lorraine Warren at her home in Connecticut before filming. Ed had passed.
Trying to dive into their character.
Yeah. Now, say what you will about The Conjuring as a universe, the first Conjuring film, I think we can all agree, is pretty damn good.
It is. And it's led by some fabulous actors.
Yeah. Yeah.
One, besides Patrick and Britta, Joey King.
Oh, yeah, but
crazy.
She was just in that movie.
Crazy.
Yeah.
She's really good in it, too.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie kind of jump-started her career.
Well, she was the best part of Slenderman. There was that
one. Oh, my God, yeah.
There was that one scene where she was, like, losing her mind in the library, and I was like, dude, this is... If the movie was this, I'd be in. But it wasn't. You couldn't even see half of it. So, I mean, yeah.
If you haven't seen our Creepypastas episode...
Yeah, go watch it. It's fun. We dive into the Slenderman movie a lot. It's pretty wild.
But she, as a child actor, she was really solid.
Yeah. It's just, I would say, I wouldn't mind seeing more of her because I think she is talented.
Well, she's just went a different career path now.
She's all in Netflix movies.
Netflix movies that are based around like teen love and stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of ass. It's like, I get like she wanted to probably move away from the horror.
Like you were killing it.
Yeah, you were killing it. And right now, where we are in the horror like community,
she would have had a lot of roles.
We got some killer female lead performances. I mean, I'm talking the girl from Talk to Me. I'm talking freaking Samara Weaving. I'm talking Lauren Lavera. I'm talking Naomi Scott from Smile 2. That was probably the best horror performance I've seen in a very long time. What else?
Don't forget your girl.
I know. I'm trying. Who?
Let me give you a hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
She's in a movie with cloning.
With cloning.
She's married to Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, Mia Goth.
There you go.
Mia Goth.
There you go.
With cloning, you got me on that one. I was like, what cloning? I thought like The Substance, but I was
Infinity Pool.
Infinity Pool, yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, great movie.
That is a good one.
Mia Goth. She's a main actress in it, but she's not the main actress.
She's great. I love when Mia Goth goes full psycho. It's says something a lot about me, but it's that's for sure.
If you want to see her full psycho, watch
Pearl, but also Infinity Pool because she does lose her shit in that one.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, so what did you like about the Conjuring movie?
I just thought the acting was phenomenal. Right? Like, as I mentioned, Joey King.
Yeah.
But the mom killed it. The mom, when she gets possessed and she's like running after her kid and trying to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is next level scary.
I'll give him that. The possession or the exorcism at the end of the movie where she's in the chair and the sheet and then it like rips open and you see like, and it's that sound design of the scream. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's different than like most Exorcist stuff you see, you just see like the demon saying something like super profane, like "God, you little bitch," and then it's like,
I know. I hate that.
I don't mind it,
I'd
but it's
rather
like
just see him like do some contortion and just all of a sudden you just hear the bones crackling and you're just like,
the contortion shit is all right. But I'm just saying, like,
and then they start levitating.
I like seeing the demon.
Yeah,
I like actually seeing the demon, and so I think that's why I kind of like the Conjuring movies a little bit more. They do show it because they show the demons,
but
a little bit. But
they do a good job of building it up.
Yeah, they do. They do,
and I think that's. And it all started with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
They do a really good job of building up this demon that's haunting this family.
Also, wait, remember the one daughter, Nancy, the one with the glasses, when her hair just starts like slowly going up and they're like, Nancy? And she just gets yeeted across the damn hall.
Is she the one that also got dragged?
I think so.
Yeah. They do a great job.
Yeeted though.
But like the use of like effects in that movie is also on point.
Yeah, I would agree.
And when we watched it back, it didn't look that dated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A little bit, but not bad. And so the biggest thing for me that I liked is the acting. I thought it was good. Yeah,
I would say so. So was there anything you didn't like in the movie?
Slow burning.
Okay.
It felt like that movie took a lot of buildup to get to the really good parts.
Characters. I think that's kind of
it's a give and take type of thing, right? But as we saw with a movie we'll discuss later, The Conjuring 3, they started off hot. Yeah,
but then it kind of went slow. That's the problem with starting out hot is that you kind of...
Like, what direction are you taking the movie?
Yeah. So it depends.
That's like my biggest fault with the movie. Other than that, it's a solid film.
Yeah, I think we can all agree The Conjuring is pretty good. So then we're moving on to Annabelle.
There's no fun facts?
I mean, that was kind of it. It was like they went to visit Lorraine and stuff.
Okay.
And it was kind of about it. But Annabelle, 2014. The second installment in the Conjuring universe, based around the the Annabelle doll we saw in the first one.
Mm.
Now, the Annabelle doll didn't actually look all creepy like it does in the movies.
It's true. It looks more...
It's just a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, the real one is just looks very playful.
Yeah. It's a doll that, I mean... we all probably had as kids. I know that my sister definitely did.
It was just like made of cloth or something.
It's a little rag doll with red hair. Yeah. And there was also a Raggedy Andy. It was like Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Just a guy doll.
It was like a dude version. Yeah. So that's the actual Annabelle doll.
But the one they make for the movie is the porcelain looking one. And that one's creepy though.
Yeah, it is creepy. So in the film Annabelle, the doll is possessed by the spirit of Annabelle Higgins, a little girl who died. The actual story of the Raggedy Ann doll is a lot different, though. The doll was given to a young woman named Donna, who was a nursing student, and she claimed that the doll moved and behaved strangely. One cool fact that I found about the film is that there's a scene in which a baby mobile is hanging over a crib, and it's playing the same song as the music box from The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool.
Connections there.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened all in that movie.
Yeah, Annabelle was not the best, I would say, in the franchise. I think it's a forgettable.
It's one of those. It is forgettable. You're right.
Yeah, it's one of the worst.
Clearly,
it's definitely the worst Annabelle movie,
but it's not the worst of the.
But it's not the worst Conjuring movie,
right?
Like as a whole, I think it's like it's all right. You know, would I watch it again? Yeah, maybe. You know. But it does show the Annabelle demon is like this big, like freaking thing with horns and stuff.
It's almost like a goat.
Yeah.
Ish.
I think it's cool. I think the creature design is super cool.
It's kind of similar to the Insidious demon.
In a way. Yeah. Yeah, I would say in a way. But that's cool because that's not the last time we obviously see that demon. So pretty cool.
I do think that's like one of the best parts of that movie is that creature design. I think it's good.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of cool because, you know, in the Conjuring movies, they introduce obviously the big room with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first Conjuring, they kind of tease a little bit of the doll. And it's cool because you can tell, I mean, with Annabelle releasing only a year later, they figured, okay, people want to see the story of the doll, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of figured
if you make it somewhat of a known aspect of the shot,
yeah,
people are gonna be like, okay, why was that in there?
Yeah.
Right? They're going to ask,
But
what's the significance about it?
It worked out, though. What I'm saying is it could have gone completely the opposite direction where people just didn't give a shit about the doll.
And then that movie would have never
would have completely flopped.
Yeah. Or never been made.
Well, they were already making it.
Oh, okay.
Because if it only came out a year later.
Yeah, that's true. They would have already been filming it.
That's what I'm saying is that they had an idea and they were like, screw it.
An idea no one asked for.
Yeah. And then they said, screw it. And then it just happened to work out that everybody was like, yo, but what about the doll though? Like, it's crazy.
Right.
You know, I mean, I guess the Conjuring opened up with them actually taking the doll, remember?
Right. Yep.
So, I mean, I guess it's like they set it up, but at the same time, people, again, could have been like, out of all the things in this room, I don't care about the doll.
But,
you know,
there's a bigger thing with the doll. That's why it's such an important backstory.
What?
It can control everything around it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they didn't know that. Though,
No, I know.
Like what I'm saying.
But like, that's a big piece of the story later on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Annabelle. Well, I think it's because the amount of money the Annabelle movies brought in is because they're like, okay, this needs to be another like main villain in the Conjuring universe is like the Annabelle demon. So it's kind of cool. But
yeah, they have a couple main demons,
which we're going to talk about here.
Yes.
With The Conjuring 2, which released in 2016.
The Conjuring 2.
Yeah. Arguably the best film in the entire franchise.
To some, yeah.
I said arguably.
I know.
The Conjuring 2 would it didn't only double the scares, but introduced one of the most frightening horror villains in recent memory with the Nun. Valak the Nun, I should say.
Also, really great creature design.
Absolutely.
Whoever's creating these, bravo.
Yeah.
Great job. Should get a raise.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was, yeah. So first and foremost, though, I do want to talk about how the movie opens up. Because it opens up with Ed and Lorraine dealing with a strange case in which some guy walks around killing his entire family with a rifle. Lorraine walks around the house and you see the, quarter circle windows and it's a dead giveaway of where they are, which is flipping Amityville.
It's Annabelle.
It's Annabelle. No, it's Amityville.
Yes.
This is not only used as a way to tell viewers that Lorraine has some issues to work out during the movie, but it also shows that the Warrens were part of the Amityville case, which, to be honest, I was actually not aware of until I saw the movie for the first time.
Yeah,
I didn't know all about the Amityville case. I just remember seeing the old movies, like the old Amityville horror movies. And my dad told me a couple stories, We talked about that in the last one, but I had no idea, like, Ed and Lorraine did the Amityville case. So you see those windows and you're like, wait, they were there? Yeah, what? That's so crazy. Yeah, no, they were there. It was a big deal. So, The Conjuring 2 also shows the skepticism the Warrens faced during this time. Because the film was so dark in theme, they actually did have a priest to come and bless the set before filming.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Another cool thing is, obviously, James Wan directed this one.
Yes, he did.
There's a reason why, in my opinion, the two directed Conjuring movies are the best in the franchise.
To some.
The guy is a master of horror. I think that you can agree on that at least.
Almost everything he touches is good.
Yes.
Almost, James. Almost.
Everything he directs, I think, is good.
Yes.
Everything. Like, I thought Malignant, I thought that was batshit crazy.
It's a good movie, but it was very predictable to me.
Yeah, you did get it. I remember I watched it like when it first came out, and then Jake had never seen it. It's like, oh my God, Jake, like watch this movie. And I was sitting there watching it with him, and he's just like, wait, is this gonna happen? I didn't call it. I didn't call that crazy twist. I had no idea.
I literally was like, yep, this is gonna happen. This is the direction he's going, and this is
it. Like he had, like it was crazy.
It was a good movie, but it was predictable to me.
I just love how it went.
Why I thought that, but
I just love how it went full John Wick in the police station.
Oh my God, that scene was crazy. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a good James Wan film.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
But going back,
it's an original horror movie, which I like. So
that's the reason why it ranked so high on my list is because it's an original idea.
Yeah,
and I love original things.
They're always like hit or miss original ideas, but because like everything is done before, it's just kind of like I want to see an original idea because I respect like the creativity.
And if you have an original idea, submit it to us. We're looking for new originals. So
SPN Productions.
Yes. Look at that. Nice little ad read to ourselves.
There you go.
But going back to his movies, right?
Yeah.
The movies he directs, great.
Yeah.
Some of the movies he's a producer on,
I think
depends on the vision.
Throw his name on there.
Probably. That'd be a great question for him to answer.
Yeah.
Is your name just thrown on that?
Yeah.
Do you like sign off something? Do you watch it?
Like, tell me,
Night
James,
Swim?
did you actually do Night Swim, or are you just like capping? Because Night Swim was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. So
big time.
Yeah. Anyway. So believe it or not, James Wan was actually offered to direct The Fate and the Furious, because I believe he did the Fast Furious 7 or whatever. I think he did one of the Furious movies.
I'm not a fan of those.
I don't know. I think he did one of them. Regardless, he was offered the role of the 8th one. I think it's the 8th one, The Fate and the Furious. But instead, he chose to direct The Conjuring 2, which I think
great choice. Great choice.
We all in the horror community can agree that was the right choice.
Definitely the right move. Yeah. What if he didn't? That's a crazy thought.
I know.
That means someone else would have had a different vision, and we wouldn't be talking about it. Maybe
Exactly. Yeah. It's so crazy how the world reacts to just one person's choice. You know, it's a smaller scale version of it, but like it is true that everybody kind of knows. Like,
but
Conjuring 2 is crazy.
If he doesn't take it, that movie isn't made the way he thought.
Yeah.
Therefore, we wouldn't have watched it maybe at all, or we would have watched it with a completely different vision of what it was going to be.
Could have had a Sinister 2 situation where it was just ass. And then maybe it completely derails the entire franchise.
Right.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Conjuring 2 did big numbers. So.
Well, and it spawned a lot more ideas in movies, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just kind of crazy to think about that. His little decision could have made or broken the franchise.
Yeah.
Clearly made it. Right?
Yeah.
You did a great job. So.
Yeah. So a couple of other cool facts. Vera Farmiga had to scream a lot in the movie, naturally.
Did she lose her voice?
She actually got a swollen lymph node because of it.
I have nodes.
Yes, she did, though. It's just crazy. And believe it or not, she actually is like the lead singer of like a metal band right now.
That's so crazy.
I know. That is cool.
That's such a wild fact.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what do you do on the side? Well, I just like, scream metal.
Yeah. Exactly.
What?
Yep. So there's also a character, there's also a good character scene where Ed, played by Patrick Wilson, sits down with a guitar and sings a song.
This is what I had talked about literally when we just watched the movie. How I love this song.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
It's a Elvis song.
It's also covered by a few people that are really good.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was listening to it on Spotify.
Oh,
beautiful. Yeah. I believe it was in Crazy Rich Asians as well.
I haven't seen that movie.
And that cover. That's the cover.
Good movie.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
I just know that the song's from it because when I looked it up on Spotify, I saw that it was from
the
score,
the soundtrack,
or
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I haven't seen the movie. I've heard it's good though. So,
I heard good things about it. So that scene where he sits down with a guitar
and
sings that song that Jake likes. So usually in movies,
what is it called, Cal?
It's the Elvis song, "Can't Help Falling in Love" or whatever.
There you go.
Falling in love.
Well, we had to say it to the audience. They would have just been like, I don't know.
You.
Great song.
But I can't help. Anyway.
Wise men say.
We're not singers. So
no, I'm definitely not a singer.
Anyway, usually in movies, they either alter an actor's singing or they get somebody else to sing their parts. But Patrick Wilson actually sang for the movie, like in that scene. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
It is a cool fact. Yeah. Also, he's good.
He is good.
He is good.
Better than us. So, the last thing I found for this movie was that the paintings that we see in Ed's home studio, especially of the one of the nun Valak, were a reference to Ed's real life hobby. In fact, Ed would sketch people's homes before speaking with them about their supernatural experiences because it would supposedly help him get a feeling of the family and their situation.
Really?
Yes.
It's cool.
So it's a cool little nod there. So what did you like about The Conjuring 2? Because I liked a whole lot.
So what I like about it is their introduction to the nun.
Yeah.
Valak. This demon is a great creature.
Mm-hmm.
The design on it is fabulous.
It goes full on Venom at the end.
It sure does. It also does it right with barely showing her. You know, they do a good job of building her up into this like crazy, strong, powerful, inhuman, is what they call it, right? And I just love that. I also still love the casting. Like, I can't tell you enough. I can't tell you enough. They find such great child actors to fit these roles. Yeah. And they're so good at acting demonic and insane. And they're like 10. Yeah. It's crazy.
So there's one scene I got to say I love. Well, first and foremost, the hallway scene with the nun. It's a split-second shot, but God, is it good. Oh, it's so good. God, is it good. Anyway.
Who's that?
Yeah, Mom. Who is that? And it's just like long corridor, like a bright corridor with just a like dark, like presence right there, and just turns and walks. Crazy. No, there's a scene where they talk to the little girl, and the little girl who's possessed, they're trying to talk to the demon.
Oh, this is a good scene.
So she's sitting in this chair, and they all are like, the demon won't talk to her or won't talk to them unless they all turn around. So they all turn around, and it's just a close up of Ed. And you know how movies, when they focus on your, you know, the lead,
as we did with our introduction to this episode,
it blurs out in the back,
right?
And
it's called focusing.
Yeah, so it blurred the back where the little girl was sitting, and her voice changes into the demon, and so it's Ed talking to the demon. But during this whole scene, you just kind of see that it's like just slowly changing from the little girl to the old ass man, like the old demon dude. And then it's like, it just like morphs back, but it's so cool to see that. Cause then you're kind of sitting there and you're just like, is that happening?
Right.
Like, oh wait, that's not a little girl anymore. I thought that was such a cool idea. So was there anything you didn't like about the Conjuring 2?
No, it's just so good. Yeah, it really is.
It is just a good movie.
Yeah. There's like nothing really wrong with it at all.
Really good. Like, you know, character connections and chemistry, and
when they do those little family moments, and when Lorraine's character, you know, Berna's character Lorraine is talking to that like scientist doctor guy, whatever. He's like telling her all about his lost daughter and everything. Yeah. You're just like, damn, this is touching me.
Yeah, it's cool. They definitely try to get you with like, I mean, because
they hit you in the emotions. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
And you are like feeling for these characters.
Yeah, it is crazy because it does make you think. I mean, that's the whole point of these movies, right? It's supposed to show like Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, again,
we'll get into that
whole thing, the whole skepticism, all that stuff. So I'm not saying that they were, you know, this whole thing, but I'm saying if they were, and what they were saying they did in helping all these families, I would imagine that this is kind of how it would be, right? Like you would feel like this weight of all this crazy bad stuff happening and your family being torn apart and people don't believe you. And then
sometimes you just need a wholesome moment.
Yeah. And then these wholesome moments, it's like, yeah, you just, you know, I mean, I don't know. So I think that they did good with what they were supposed to do. Yeah. They understood the assignment for sure.
Yeah. There was so much good in that movie.
Yeah.
Compared to little to none bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was good for sure. We didn't even talk about it. The one thing that we like about these Conjuring movies is that there's not just one demon the majority of the time. It's usually quite a few of them. And the Conjuring 2 also had the Crooked Man.
Right.
Which, I mean, what did you think of the Crooked Man?
Okay, actually, there was one little small thing that I didn't like. It was somewhat of the Crooked Man.
Okay.
Because his CGI was just
It looked like a claymation character.
Yeah. It looked too like put into the movie. You know what I mean? But I kind of liked the idea that they bring this toy to torment them.
Yeah.
While hiding the fact that Valak is doing all this crap.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked two things with the Crooked Man a lot. One was the dog ringing the bell.
Oh yeah.
And then the dog just like morphs into the Crooked Man and you're like, holy shit. And then I think it's literally that same scene, but the shadow of the crooked man coming and it's like speaking, and then like the girl just comes around the corner.
Janet is walking.
It's like, that's so cool because you're like, oh, expecting, and then it's just her. And so that was cool.
My favorite part with the crooked man was when he like is in the tent.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden like Ed sees him and backs up, and he just like cracks the whole house.
Yeah.
And then comes after him.
Yeah.
That's a cool scene.
So I will say the crooked man kind of felt a little bit like Annabelle in a way. The reason why is because they kind of put it in the forefront of, oh, it's one of the demons that's haunting, kind of like Annabelle was in The Conjuring, right? I mean, she didn't haunt, but she was there. People were like, oh, what is that? So they actually had
conduits, right?
Yeah,
I think is the word.
So they actually had plans for a Crooked Man movie,
like in this franchise. It was The Crooked Man.
See, when we talked about it, I thought you were just talking like someone was just going to make the movie. No, it was like supposed to be a spinoff.
Gotcha.
And they canceled it because I guess not a lot of people liked The Crooked Man.
Like I said, it's probably just because it looked super claymation-y.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think it could have been cool though.
It could have.
I think it could have been cool. You could have made that.
I mean, that toy that they take though.
You take a crooked man and they all live together. Little crooked house.
You know what it kind of reminds me of?
What?
Art the Clown's theme song.
The Clown Cafe.
Yeah, kind of similar.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so just kind of a little thing. Would you have liked to see the Crooked Man movie? Let us know. Still love doing that full like YouTube thing. Remember back to the Bigfoot movie? What's up, guys?
It's like, oh, we got to go again. What's up, guys? It's Jim.
What's up, guys? On a dime. Just flips. Just, oh, God, I screwed that up. Anyway. What's up, guys? How you? All right, moving on. So Annabelle Creation, which released in 2017. Serving as not only a sequel to the first Annabelle movie, but also an origin story for the doll, Annabelle Creation was much more, well received, I would say, by both audiences and critics. It was, in fact, better.
It was.
I will say that.
It was a very good film.
The film score was actually inspired by The Shining, believe it or not.
Cool.
And the farmhouse used in the movie was also used in Westworld.
Really?
Yeah. So that's cool. They had a priest as a consultant on the film to make sure that they got certain religious aspects correct. And another cool fact that I found about the film was that the director, David F. Sandberg, kind of just eyeballed the movie. Here's what I mean by that. Basically, when directing a movie, directors have to study storyboards and or diagrams to help fulfill shots that they want.
Mm-hmm.
But Sandberg decided to abandon that step and choose to feel the shots in the moment and the set that was then created.
Well, I'm assuming he probably has a team around him helping him too. Right?
Yeah.
So he's probably got a cinematographer that's like, hey, this is a good shot. And he's like, yeah, this looks good to me.
But it's kind of cool, like just being like, nah.
It's not a concrete plan.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, screw that step. Let's just get there.
Yeah. Let's just make the film.
Let's just get down to the ranch or whatever. Let's just film it.
And guess what?
It's pretty good.
You wonder what I like about this one too.
Yeah.
Huh, crazy.
What?
You could guess it.
What?
The child actors.
No.
Once again. Except the connection between the two girls is a little weird.
I forgot.
They like love each other and hold their hands all the time. And I'm just like, is that normal? I don't know.
Well, we're not we're not hating on you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, we're not hating on.
No, we're just saying like it seemed like they were trying to be like they were just super friends, like super friendly, but they were like doing little like chin touches and stuff, and like
it's like they're 10.
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah. I don't care. It was just I was just a little caught off guard.
It felt kind of like an adult relationship,
right?
As opposed to being a child,
an 11-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. That's
the best way to put it. No, not hating on it at all. It was just like
it just felt a little off. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But the one main girl, God, she was good at acting.
Yeah, she was pretty good. Yeah, she was good at it. But you do get the origin of Annabelle. Mm-hmm. You find out that the Annabelle kid, like the actual Annabelle, the doll was made for Annabelle, and she gets run over by a car.
It's literally the beginning of the movie.
And then there's like a orphanage that is now like basically an orphanage. Good God. An orphanage spawns in or like starts up in the house of
in that farmhouse.
From
the family.
Which the family owns. Good God.
Took a while to get there.
Anyway, yeah. And so that was kind of an interesting take, I would say. And then eventually, you see the demon again.
It seemed like they wanted to help a bunch of kids because they lost their kid.
Yeah.
Which they wanted to do good.
But the mom had like
she had half a face because...
No, she gets mobbed in that movie.
Yeah, by the demon.
No, but like what I'm saying is like we were talking about how there's like not a lot of kills in the Conjuring movies.
She doesn't die though.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
she gets freaking ripped in half.
She does die.
That one was brutal. I forgot about that one.
Do you see it?
Oh yeah. Well, you don't see it actually happening, but you see her crucified and like
you see her after the fact.
Annabelle
but you don't
had
actually see it.
The family at the beginning of the movie gets mobbed. They show that at the end of
there
Annabelle
are some
Creation.
kills.
All right, there's some kills, but it's like not to the point of The Conjuring 3.
No. However,
which we'll get to.
One craziest scene in that movie is when she's like stuck on the chair.
Oh yeah.
Going like up and down the staircase.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she gets like thrown off and like dropped from so high onto the floor from the chandelier.
It wouldn't be a Conjuring movie if people didn't get thrown. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, that one was good. It wasn't very scary.
No, not scary. No jump scares, really.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. I think it was just, there was a lot of buildup in that movie for not really too crazy. I mean, it was still good, but it was just not like as crazy, I would say.
I can't remember. She just runs away, right?
Yeah, because then she gets adopted with the demon in her, and then it turns out to be the lady who kills the people at the beginning of Annabelle.
Right.
Like the first Annabelle movie. Yeah. So kind of cool they tie that together. Oh yeah, there's also a picture of Valak the nun in Annabelle Creation. Remember?
Yeah,
you saw that? She's like looking
the old
at
photo.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing.
There are just little bits everywhere of Valak.
Yeah.
Or hidden around all the movies.
That's actually something we should talk about with The Conjuring 2.
Valak's
Valak's name is
everywhere.
It's funny. I showed Jake kind of the pretty obvious ones, like there's little like letters in the bookshelf, and then there's the little friendship bracelet that what's her name, Judy is making, and it says Valak on the bracelet. And then there's one when they're at the kitchen table where it just says like it's like love, and the V is super capital, and then it's Alec like underneath it. And then there's, you saw another one.
Yeah, there's two more at least.
Yeah.
At least.
So it's pretty cool. The whole point is that,
but it was only in their house, really.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because the whole point of it is that, she
knew her name the whole time. She knew it the whole time.
Yeah, the name is what gives power over a demon, I guess, in the movie. So that was kind of a cool thing. Also, well, I guess we'll get to that in a second after this. So, we're moving on to The Nun.
Speaking of Valak.
Oh, yeah. The Nun, 2018. Set as the terrifying origin of the Conjuring 2 antagonist, Valak the Nun. The Nun aimed to frighten audiences with an oldies gothic feel that, unfortunately, failed in almost every aspect. Valak was the best part of The Conjuring 2, but sadly was the worst part of her own movie. Despite the reviews being almost all negative, the hype was there as the film is the highest grossing movie in the franchise. It was.
Because people were anticipating it.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer. A couple of cool things I found. So the movie was actually shot at a real castle in Romania, which is pretty sick.
That is cool.
The next one is pretty well known, but in case you didn't know, the actress who plays Sister Irene, who is the main character of the Nun trilogy, I guess you can say it, and if they do another trilogy, or I mean another movie, the Nun franchise, I don't know, whatever you call it.
The two movies.
The two movies. It's actually Tessa Farmiga, which is the real life sister of Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine.
She's also well known for her stardom in the first season of American Horror Story.
The two of them do look pretty identical.
They do.
Yeah. So a bunch of props that they used for the movie were actually leftover props from Annabelle Creation. And this is due to the fact that they were set in a similar time period, and it saves costs on making more props. Kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
So while the movie seemed like a sure thing, it was pretty bad.
Yes,
good acting by everybody, but the scares were just not there. And it's sad because the movie showed Valak so much that she turned out to not even be scary by the end of the movie. So
you would say it's like a Sinister 2 effect.
I'm going to give you a challenge. Find something good to say about the nun. One thing.
I can't.
Other than acting. Because the acting was good.
I can't.
Find something. Figure it out.
I can't do it.
Figure it out.
Actually, you know what?
The first nun. Find something.
Because it was shot in Romania, the cinematography was actually really good.
Yeah. The gothic feel was there.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
They nailed that origin completely.
Yeah.
But showing the demon / your antagonist way too often doesn't lead you to any more build up, and then your final battle is just kind of meh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the like you said, they kind of nailed the time frame. There was, I think there's one scene
in both movies
they get
to be
it's set during World War II, so I think there's one. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there's a scene where like the planes come over and they get like bombed.
Do they?
I think so. If they don't get bombed, then the planes just fly over the church or whatever. But I do believe they get like bombed. Maybe I think
I remember planes, but I don't know if I remember a bomb.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe they just heard gunfire or something, but I could have sworn there was a bombing.
Either way.
Regardless, it just shows it doesn't really fucking matter. But it's cool that it was set during that time frame.
Nailed the time period.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about Annabelle Comes Home 2019, or as I like to call it, The Conjuring 1.5. This film featured Ed and Lorraine in smaller roles, but the main character was their daughter. The film was dedicated to Lorraine Warren because sadly, 2 months prior to the film's release, she passed away. The movie was actually pretty good. All right, Soul's dreaming over there.
Hey, Sully.
Jesus. Man's freaking out, thinking of Alec the Nun. Anyway, he's thinking about how bad that movie was. So this movie, however, was pretty good. In my opinion, it is the best of the Annabelle movies. From the very beginning of the Conjuring films, when you saw Ed and Lorraine's Warren's room full of possessed objects, you kind of always worried about or wondered about, the objects themselves.
Right.
What was the story behind those? What demon is attached to those? All that. To me, it kind of felt like Sam Jackson showing up in a Marvel movie. It's like teasing something more, tease like the characters and a larger universe and all that. And this movie has pretty much that whole question answered, I would say.
For the most part.
Yeah, that's exactly what we got with Annabelle Comes Home. The Warren's daughter is a couple friends over. And one of the girls, Glindola. I'm just kidding.
The whole movie, he said this.
No,
I'm like, her name is Daniela.
They say her name was Daniela, but at the very first time I heard it, I swear to God, I heard Glindola, and I was like, I don't know what that name was, and so I just heard, her actual name is Daniela. But anyway, one of the girls, she goes and basically pisses off a bunch of objects in that room, and we get to see a number of cool new demons.
Well, she pisses off one. Really?
Yeah, but then they all kind of go ballistic. And
true.
You get to see a bunch of those objects and like what they do.
I think it was like really like 5 main ones you really see.
Well, like it's cool that you even got to see like the little TV.
True.
Doing its own thing. You got to see the typepwriter just typing. You got to see.
They did use a lot of the objects, but like demon wise, it was just mostly
the feely mealy, the little box toy thing. Jake was like, they kind of just didn't do anything with that.
Because it was in the room. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was just on her game shelf.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, so that's going to be something, right? And then it's like they had this whole buildup and then
they start playing it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, something's going to grab them. Like,
and then it was super anticlimactic.
Yeah. They just like grab it. She gets the object and goes and answers the door.
Yeah. And then, but it did, like, at the end when shit started going down, the hand started coming out of it, and then that was like kind of cool. But the samurai armor, I was always wondering what that was because that looks so cool, and I'm like, what's the demon with that? But it just moves its head, and then it just has like, I think it probably locks you in a trance like it did with the girl,
right?
And like kind of, you know, you start hearing like the souls and stuff that are trapped in it or something. You know, that's what it sounded like, at least.
Well, yeah, because she got trapped twice and Judy had to pull her out of it.
Yeah. And then the ferryman, that was a cool one. I liked that so much. That was my favorite part of the whole movie.
I think what's really good about this franchise is they're really good at using like the dark. Like, very good at it.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing with the ferryman was that the light would always shine off the coins in the eyes. So it just looked like glowing eyes, which I thought was really cool. And then every time that she did like turn the light on them, the coins would just drop.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. That was cool. So.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was a good movie.
Yeah. And also good touching, you know, moments, especially with Glindola and Daniela, whatever.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, because I mean, she's the main story, really.
I would say so. Yeah, she definitely had the most.
She was feeling remorse, and
that's why she went in there and pissed all those objects off, because she
wanted to see her dad again.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So, yeah, good movie. Fun fact about this film is that they actually had a number of strange things happen on set.
Really?
From lamps and lights turning on and off by themselves. There was actually even one instance where the Annabelle doll disappeared from her glass case and didn't show back up until a couple of days later.
That's kind of crazy.
I was thinking
that's just like a crew member fucking with them.
I was just going to say, I think that that's kind of cool. Like if it is legit, but again, the flip side of that coin.
Pranksters out there.
Yeah. Also kind of funny. The ferryman coin. Get it? Flip side of the coin.
Yeah. It's like a knee slapper.
All about jokes here on the Supernaturals podcast. No, I'm kidding. That was ass. Anyway.
Hosted by SPN Productions.
Anyway, yeah. So good movie, right? You liked it?
Yeah, no, it was really good.
I think you
good
didn't like
good character development.
I didn't like the werewolf.
Honestly, I hated the werewolf.
Yeah.
I thought it was so stupid.
Yeah, the werewolf was ass. I don't know why these movies keep trying to.
The dude in generic name Bob.
Bob's got balls.
Bob's got balls. That is pretty funny. But he was just like hiding in the chicken coop. Like, hiding from this werewolf, and it's like clawing at the car, ripping it. And it was just like, this is just so unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like had that never happened, it would have been even better of a movie.
See, I think it's like, there were a couple
at least to me. Okay. At least to me. You know,
one thing I loved about the movie, because it is Annabelle, so you have the one creepy demon with the horns. There's a scene where Judy goes to bed and she has this little lamp thing, and it spins, and the lamp like turns the room different colors. There's like red, there's yellow, there's green, and there's blue. Yeah. And it gets knocked over, and there's some crazy stuff. And Judy's sitting there, and you see the shadow of the Annabelle doll when it's like one color, and then the color changes, and then it's like the little girl, and then it changes, and then it's like the adult girl who like killed those people in Annabelle. And then it changes one more time, and it's the freaking outline of the demon, and then he's there, and it's like, whoa, that was a cool scene. These movies have good cinematography, for sure.
They really do.
Yeah.
The use of darkness is crazy, because like it can be so dark, yet you can still see everything.
Yeah.
And I love that. I always wonder how they get it like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to talk about, don't cover my head yet, The Curse of La Llorona, which released in 2019. So hang on. For starters.
Great lead actress.
I know. We'll get there. I'm aware that the director came out and said that this technically isn't a part of the Conjuring universe, but I'm throwing it on there because there are cameos there are cameos. There's also the fact that it marketed itself as being the darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe. It marketed itself as that. So what I believe is that it was later redacted by its director, probably due to its low ratings and numbers. That's what I think. So I think that's kind of crazy. Because I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought the movie was good too.
We might get some heat for that because I know a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was good. I thought it was actually really good. It featured one of the characters from Annabelle, Father Perez, which was actually a cool little tie-in to the larger universe at the time. And, he actually mentioned that he fought Annabelle. Mm-hmm. So, like, how can that not be connected? I'm sorry, like, the movie didn't do great, but, like, you can't just have that. That's like the same shit as, like, you have an MCU movie and they talk about, like, Thor, and then you're just like, that also isn't a part of the MCU, and you're like,
what?
Say again?
Yeah.
Anyway, it featured one of Jake and I's favorite actors, Linda Cardellini. I think that's how you say her last name, but God, she's awesome.
She is. She's in so much stuff.
She's great.
She's love her in New Girl, love her in Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Love her in this.
Yep. Absolutely. You love her in Grandma's Boy.
I sure do. Great film.
So the real life curse the movie was based on it's of Hispanic origin. Mm-hmm. It acted as a lesson to make kids come home in a reasonable hour. But after some kids went missing in a small town in Mexico, this children's tale morphed into an urban legend. The story goes that a woman drowned her 2 children in a river, and she is forced to roam the earth for eternity, crying for them to come back after she realized her mistake. That's dark as hell, by the way.
Sure is.
It is said that if you hear a woman crying late at night, turn the other direction and walk away.
She's probably there.
Now, the movie itself, I know it didn't get the best reviews, but I actually think it was one of the better spinoffs. It's way better than the Nun movies, and it makes good use of its villain. La Llorona is a terrifying demon to look at, and I think that they use her just enough.
Oh, 100%.
I think she's freaky looking.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, the use of light and cinema in that, like the cinematography and candlelight, that candlelight scene on their main floor.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Like they're sitting in that like little circle.
Uh-huh.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah, you get to see it's cool because you get to see a different style of the exorcism, right? That like we usually get in these movies.
Yep.
It was kind of a more like, I guess like Hispanic. It was like, they were using a bunch of different things that I wasn't familiar with and stuff. And so it was cool to see that side of
They kept
stuff,
culturally accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it was cool. So the demon, though, La Llorona, was
it was scary.
Sick.
It's like
sick.
Almost just as good as Valak.
I would say so. Yeah, she was freaky looking. And the like constant bloody tears. Mm-hmm. So cool.
Oh, I know.
The one scene too with the daughter, they set it up earlier where she was like washing her hair in the bath and she'd be like rinsing and she'd put her head down and then come back up. And then like it was La Llorona doing it in that one scene and you're just like, whoa, what the hell? There's that shot from under the water and you just see her face like through the water. Yep. That's so cool.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm curious why people didn't like that movie.
I don't know.
Because I was thoroughly entertained and thought it was good.
Yeah, it got worse reviews than like The Nun. And I can't believe that.
From critics or from fans or from both?
From both.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to read those reviews then because I really need to know. Because The Nun was not it.
No. Yeah, it is weird. It's strange to, certain movies, they feel like the other movie. And I get that can, you're like, I've seen this before. So, but I mean, how many movies are just recycled nonsense that people, like still, right? It still gets good reviews or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. I can't tell the difference between like The Conjuring 2 was like really good, but like La Llorona, like that shit was up there.
Yeah.
100%. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time watching the movie. I've seen it twice now and I like it. So moving on to Jake's favorite.
Sure is.
The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, 2021.
I do love this movie. It's just such a different take than the other two.
It does feel vastly different than the other ones.
It's very different.
Yes. So The third made Conjuring film, and the first not directed by James Wan. The movie was actually titled The Conjuring 3 at first, but was later changed due to the fact that they wanted people to know what the story was about. And what exactly was the story? Well, the movie was based on a real-life case of Arnie Johnson, who stabbed and murdered his landlord 22 times. Johnson told investigators that he was possessed by a demon that had previously had its grip on his sister's boyfriend. Yeah, that's what it was.
And not the brother.
Not the brother,
So
I suppose. Change that, I guess.
Are you sure?
That's what it said, dude. That's what I have here. But maybe it was the brother.
In the movie, it's the brother has it.
Maybe it is the brother.
The brother has the demon, and
regardless,
then Arnie takes it from him to save his life.
Regardless.
Heroic moment, to say the least.
I think we talk about it in the next episode a lot, so maybe I mistyped or something, but I do believe, I think it is the boyfriend, and they just changed it. But anyway, the film
Arnie Johnson's the boyfriend.
I know, but I think it was Arnie's sister's boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Regardless,
we'll go into it next episode.
Yeah.
This is just about the movie. So in the movie is the little brother.
Right.
So anyway, the film depicts this at the beginning and makes you care about the family that is being haunted. The film follows the couple as they help Johnson, and then it takes a strange turn as instead of worrying about ghosts and demons, we start getting into cults and witches. This movie feels quite different from the other Conjuring movies, as this one showcases that instead of a usual possession, there's an actual witch that is the antagonist, which is crazy. It also features the most kills in any of the Conjuring movies.
Sure does. Sure does.
Jake, tell us about the Conjuring thing. I want to know what you liked about it.
God, I love the magic aspect. I think it was such a cool take. Like to be able to put these totems in people's houses.
Yeah.
And make them hallucinate certain things is crazy.
Yeah.
Like the one scene where she does it to the Warrens' residence and Ed is like about to stab Lorraine.
Yeah.
And he's like, she was in her house. And they're like looking for it. Turns out it was a freaking flower gift.
Which actually, that's so funny. We were watching the movie and they find the totem in a vase. And the vase is like got the thin top where you put the flowers in, and it's kind of wide and then it comes down. And when he breaks it and the totem is in there, it's like a fat totem. And I'm like, how did the totem get in the vase? So it's either she like manually did it like with like some sticks or something and just like put it together through the little hole at the top, or it shows that even if you're a crazy witch lady, you need a hobby. And hers was pottery.
It's like when people make ships in a bottle, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is like maybe she was doing that. Or, like I said, she's just like, this gives me a good excuse to do some pottery. And I think that's kind of funny.
I just loved the witch take of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so cool to go in a different direction than, your normal possession.
Yeah.
And exorcism at the end. Like, there was no real, like, they tried an exorcism, but that wouldn't work because that wasn't the case.
Yeah. That movie started out with a crazy exorcism with the little brother.
But it didn't work.
No, but like it was crazy. The kid was like
he was contorting and doing all the crazy stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that movie started off hot.
Yeah.
Was a little slow burning throughout the center.
Yeah. It was cool. It was like a mystery though.
But then it got intense again once they started figuring out who was behind it. And one cool thing was Lorraine was able to see out of the witch's vision.
That was sick.
That was sick.
Yeah, it was cool because the witch lady seemed like the exact opposite of Lorraine, which was kind of cool.
She was the angel, and the other one was the devil, basically.
Yeah, it was cool.
Or
demon.
The sidekick of an angel and devil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a little pawn.
Yeah, it was cool for sure. So,
what did you like about the movie?
I like the witchcraft thing. I think I'd like to see more movies about witchcraft. I also, again, I didn't see a lot of people get thrown around in that movie, which, is kind of a staple for all the Conjuring movies for me.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun. I love when you get to like the climax and people are just getting thrown around. It just adds like a sense of holy shit. And there wasn't a lot of that, but there definitely was a lot of crazy contorting, which I think I'll say was good. I mean, the way that this is a spoiler, but the way that the witch lady dies.
Oh yeah.
She like twists her body around and she's like getting all effed up, and then the demon comes out and like grabs her on the head and then just like takes her soul, and her body just goes limp and like her legs are all like I'm like, that what a crazy shot that was. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That it looked real too.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think. A lot of these Exorcist movies, the contorting doesn't look real. They like CGI it or whatever. But that, I mean, I don't know how they did that, but that one looked cool. Maybe it was just lighting, but it was
well,
cool.
it was a dark scene, so probably good lighting.
All right. So The Nun 2, 2023.
Another disappointment.
Hoping to be better than the first attempt, especially after promising a darker tone.
I mean, it was darker.
And a really good trailer.
Such a good trailer.
The trailer we watched, we saw like every time we went to the...
Was it the newspaper
theaters.
scene? The like magazine scene? That scene?
That was cool, but the one where she's like... Remember, it's like super dark and they're like looking through the little thing and they're like, do you see her?
Oh.
And then it's just like, that jump scare gets everybody in the theater.
Yeah. That. Yeah, when the little kids are like climbing through the like secret passage.
Yeah. So The Nun 2 released in 2023 and featured the two leads from the prior Nun film, which I just going to say, Frenchie, the main guy, like the main dude in the Nun movies, he gets possessed in the film that they show, like the Lorraine and like the Warren show in the Conjuring movies.
And in their classes.
And stuff. That's Frenchie's possession, I guess. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wild. So that's cool. Wonder if we'll see maybe a third Nun movie that'll tie into that. I don't know.
Maybe. I'll tell you what I like about it in a second, though.
Okay.
Because there is one thing I do like that I think is
not
really helps. No. That really helps like develop this story.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to that in a second. So this movie was directed by Michael Chavez, who has actually become quite the staple in the Conjuring universe. He directed The Curse of La Llorona, which I thought was good. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which was good. And this film, which I
didn't hit.
Didn't hit. It was better than the first one.
It was
better than the first one. So fun fact about this movie is that it was filmed in an old church in France, which is cool. I do applaud these movies for finding sets instead of building sets like most movies do. Pretty cool, finding locations.
I mean, that's someone's job.
It does add a bit of authenticity, which I think is cool. The film also creates a bit more lore for the Conjuring universe, as it discusses a sister from years past who got her eyes gouged out, and the eyes are now a relic that the demon Valak, who is revealed to be an angel that was rejected by God, is after. I think that is cool.
And if she gets them, she becomes very powerful.
What was it? The eyes of Irene or something like that, or
something like
that. And so the eyes, it was cool. That one scene with the painted glass. Do you remember that one? And like it like shows that's cool. That was cool.
Once again, the cinema was great.
Yeah, and I'll say it does have like an interesting plot for sure. So I'll say, despite an interesting plot and a really good acting from its leads, The Nun 2 decides to misplace a lot of scares with weird things like a random goat demon. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. It also just kind of looks odd. So I will say, despite all of its flaws, The Nun 2 is an improvement on the first. And, I guess in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of all we were looking for.
True.
I mean,
if you think
I don't
about
think we're
it
gonna
that
get a good Nun movie, but
it's so sad because they botched this movie that could have been so good.
Yeah.
They had such a great idea of a villain.
I agree.
And it was just butchered.
Yeah.
And you're like sitting there going, damn, this could have just been such a stellar film, or even two,
Yeah.
And it just never lived up.
Well, I think another thing is like, these movies, when they try to add other demons, it's like, let's try to add something else so we don't have to show our villain too much, right? Like we don't have to show Valak as much. But the issue is that you create something like a goat demon, like literally a goat running down these stairs, and you're just like, dude, maybe it sounds good on paper, but it's not good like execution wise. And I don't know, man. It's just not, that was so shitty.
Yeah, that's a big downfall of that movie.
Yeah.
One thing I did like was how Valak transferred through from movie 1 to movie 2. Because it was that like gardener, right? Same guy.
Yeah.
Who came from movie 1.
Yeah.
Took the demon.
Yeah.
And transferred him. I think the movie's actually supposed to be in Italy. I think.
No.
Or is it? It is in France.
France. Yeah.
I thought it was Italy, but whatever. If it's in,
regardless, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's still Gothic.
One of those.
But,
yeah.
But so he comes and he brings the demon that way, and it starts haunting that school.
Yeah.
Which is I thought was a cool transfer of like how Valak got there.
Yeah. I also thought the end fight was actually not bad, with like Valak being like levitating and then like all the fire and shit.
Well, because she got the eye, so she became really powerful.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that. It was a cool ending. But I just think,
it showed her way too much building up to
the
that.
magazine scene, the newspaper scene or whatever. That was cool.
Yeah, it still made me jump.
Yeah,
even though I knew it was coming.
That was cool. I'll give him that. That was cool. Yeah, there was some bright. That's what I'm saying. Is like it was way better than the first one.
Glimpses of greatness there, but just like overall didn't hit.
Not great. But there's some good shit in there. So now, since we've covered all the Conjuring movies, we're going to look forward, ladies and gentlemen.
Forward.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, I know.
What?
Conjuring 4.
That went right over my head. But yeah, it's good. Yeah. So, yes, The Conjuring Last Rites releases in September of 2025. The final installment in the Conjuring franchise. Will it be the final in the universe? We'll see. I don't know.
You got to end it at some point.
I mean, you
right?
do, but
you can't just keep it going. I mean, if it's making money, I can see how you would want to keep it going.
Yeah.
But maybe just come up with a new idea.
It is known as the last in Ed and Lorraine's saga. So not much is known about the plot, but I am excited to see where they end these films. As for who the movie is helmed by, any guesses?
James Wan?
Michael Chavez. So we'll see how it goes on September 5th, 2025. Now, I do want to ask, what are you expecting from the movie? It's called The Conjuring Last Rites. So I'm expecting something a little rites as in like RITE.
Yeah.
So like I'm expecting something super religious.
Yeah.
Right?
Very religious.
Yeah.
Some probably huge exorcism moment, I would assume. I don't know when in the time period this is going to take place. Is this later after the 3?
Yeah.
This is okay.
It's like the last. Yeah. So
I'm expecting this is probably their last case. It's going to be so intense, and they're going to be like, Ed, I can't do this anymore. And then that's how it's going to kind of end their saga or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll probably end on like a happy note of.
It'll be happy, but it's going to put Ed and Lorraine through some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think I'm low-key hoping. I'm low-key hoping because it seems like Valak has been the main
you think she's coming back
of the here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping since they did spin-offs of Valak and Annabelle, you would have Valak and Annabelle as the main bad guys.
And this is like the end to their reign.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty gnarly. Because then you'd be like, you could finally see the ending of Annabelle. Because it's really just, she's in a box.
Right.
Kill the demon. You got to kill it, Valak the nun. Yeah, you just said Valak's name and, Valak went back to hell. But like.
That was kind of it, right? Yeah.
You got to give me a little bit more like.
Give me a better fight.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we get to see kind of that. If not, cool is what it is. But
I am looking forward to it though. I am.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So
will there be more spinoffs? There probably will be.
I think there's a show. They're making a show,
really?
I believe, on Max. Unless I don't know if it got canceled or something, but I do remember them announcing it. Yeah, they said there was going to be a show set in the Conjuring universe. So I don't know. We'll see if that ever comes out. But
does this whole universe make it more interesting because it was based on true stories? What if someone had come up with this whole universe and idea in their head and said, the Warrens here, take the true stories out, right? built this whole Annabelle doll, all these exorcisms. Does it hit different because it's based on a true story? Or would it be the same if it was just a fabrication, like a fantasy, basically?
I think the true story helps.
Yeah.
I think the first Conjuring movie in 2013, a big reason why it was so successful was because it was based on a true story. And I think that has kind of carried, at least it helped the startup, because if you look at, I know Universal was trying to do a dark universe movie, or like a dark universe, where they have the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Frankenstein. They have the rights to all these characters, and with the Mummy with Tom Cruise, they were trying to start a shared universe of all these different monsters. And that movie
I've actually
failed.
never seen that movie. I've seen the old ones.
It was all right.
The old ones are really good.
No, I actually didn't mind it. I like Tom Cruise. I do. I like Tom Cruise. I do. I think, say what you will about him as
I feel like Tom Cruise and what does Rick say? Cuisine?
Yeah. No, I think regardless, they tried to make that a universe and it failed. And so then they came out with like The Invisible Man, which, by the way, that movie was gas.
It was good.
It was really good. So I'm happy that kind of didn't work out.
The main actress in that movie is fucking really good.
Yeah, she killed that too. So
I think she plays in like that Hulu series,
Handmaid's Tale. She's also in Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who dies with the I'm getting those good vibrations. That song. The little slide whistle. Woo! That shit. Hi, soul.
I know. He's like, is it over?
Shit, might be. Good God Almighty, we've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes.
Really?
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for bearing with us for a little bit longer.
This has been a long episode, but
we had a lot of movies to talk about.
Yeah, sure did. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like more movie, if you want more movie episodes like this, let us know.
We got a few more in store.
Yeah, we have a couple. We also have, obviously, our usual unsolved mysteries and stuff, but we do love horror movies, and The Conjuring is
a lot to talk about.
Conjuring has been a staple in the horror community for over a decade now, and I think it's just right that we talk about it. So Soul's just breathing heavy over here, so that's cool. Anyway, any final thoughts?
Nope. Those movies.
Any last rites?
Most of the movies are bangers. Great job to the directors and cast and crew.
Michael Chavez, you better not fuck this
up.
Don't
let us down here. Don't let us down.
Come on, man.
But
give us something.
Thanks again for tuning in. And like we said earlier, if you got original stories, send it to us.
Yeah, we're going to keep plugging that. So
of course, we're going to keep plugging it.
We want to know your guys' I want to see your ideas. They're so cool.
It's going to be fun to read them.
Yeah.
We can't accept everything, but feel free to send it. Even if we don't accept it, we'll send you some notes. It's not going to be just a ghost.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Jake and I have we have some pretty, you can look at all of our information on our website, but you can have, Jake and I can help with a lot of stuff if we choose to accept your idea. Jake is good at film, cinematography, directing, editing, sound design, all that good stuff. And, I've gotten 3 books published, so I think I'm good at kind of story flow and things like that. So if you just even want our thoughts on that stuff, we'll help you guys out. So.
Yep. You can find the submission email on the website, and we look forward to it.
Heck yeah, everybody.
Thanks for bearing with us here on this long haul.
Yeah.
And we'll see you around the graveyard on the next episode.
Next episode, we will be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren. Therefore, I know we are going to get some heat on that episode, my friend.
Controversy here.
It's so crazy. Everybody's so passionate about whether they were legit or not. We're going to try to, stand in the middle ground, but we are going to talk about it like
devil's advocate on both sides here.
Yeah. We're going to listen. We're going to use our big boy words and we're going to, you know, respect other people's opinions.
Exactly.
No, I'm expecting to get some heat for sure. Anyway, regardless.
For sure.
We'll see you guys next episode. We've been the Supernaturals.
We'll see you around the graveyard.
Thanks for listening to this chilling episode of The Supernaturals. For your protection, make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And stay tuned for the next episode.